What's up, guys? Welcome to Casually Opinionated, where we talk about everything you want to know and everything that matters in pop culture and current events. And today we're talking about abuse again, but we're taking a look at some celebrity situations and asking some of the questions that have been deemed taboo when talking about abuse and seeing if we can just get a little bit more understanding on the situation. Let's get into it. So I was recently watching an interview with FK Twigs and Gayle King where she was talking about her abusive relationship with Shia LaBeouf. And during the interview, she said something that really got me pondering.
Nobody who's been in this position likes this question, and I often wonder, is it even an appropriate question to ask? And you know the question is, why didn't you leave?
Yeah. And I think we just have to stop asking that question. I know that you're asking it like out of love, but like I'm just gonna make a stance and say that I'm not gonna answer that question anymore, because the question should really be to the abuser, why are you holding someone hostage with abuse? You know, and people say, oh, it can't have been that bad because else she would have left.
She's brilliant, and I think this is one of those cases where someone is right and wrong at the same time, but we'll get into that in a little bit. In case you don't know, FK Twigs filed a lawsuit against Shia, citing accusations of sexual battery, assault, and infliction of emotional distress. She mentions one instance where she was thrown on top of his car while he was screaming at her, even choking her at one point. She even mentioned he did some weird shit where he told her how many times she needed to hug and kiss him in one day. USA Today published this article here where they say, experts say the question keeps coming up because culturally we do not understand domestic violence. We ask because we are curious and because most perpetrators don't admit to abuse. We can't ask them why they harmed. Let me just go on record and say that I 100% agree with FK Twigs and that these abusers need to be questioned, and I think that we need to get the knowledge and get the understanding of what abuse is, especially on the psychological end, to be able to get these guys convicted and get them into an interrogation room where we can sit down and talk to them like similar to a bank robber or a serial killer. As far as the second part of her answer goes, the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence states a victim's reasons for staying with their abusers are extremely complex and in most cases are based on the reality that their abuser will follow through with the threats they have used to keep them trapped. Feel free to press pause and read some of the examples they give. But if you were to ask an abuser, they'd probably give you an answer like this.
I never questioned that I wasn't right.
Sia has also spoke out against Shia, stating that he conned her into an adulterous relationship. In a recent interview, FK Twigs said, I'd like to be able to raise awareness on the tactics that abusers use to control you and take away your agency. And that's just one of the many conversations I feel needs to be had when it comes to this topic. I feel like people just aren't aware of these things, and that quote is what brings me to Miss Amber Heard. The story is highly publicized and spans years, so we're not taking too deep of a dive with this one. Plus, YouTubers like Incredibly Average and ThatUmbrellaGuy do an amazing job at just chronicling this whole thing, so I'll leave links to their channels in the description. Basically, Amber and Johnny met in 2009 on the set of The Rum Diary, started dating around the end of 2011, beginning of 2012, got engaged in 2014, married in 2015, and divorce was filed in 2016 after an incident in Australia. Here's an exchange between Jerry Judge, who was Johnny's head of security until the day he died, and Amber Heard after that incident in Australia, like right after.
I hate to be hasty. I hate that I'm the one that has to go for it. You know, I hate that I'm the element that really sets it off. I hate that Jerry, I don't want to do that. Everything
it's the old I'm the victim and me hitting him is his fault. You know, like I kind of like salute to my boy Jerry for not buying into her bullshit. And here's an exchange between Johnny and Amber.
You can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence. And
yes.
It's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
It doesn't matter if it's a fair fight. My ass.
Exactly, because you're bigger and you're stronger. And so when I say that I thought you could kill me, that doesn't mean you counter with you also that you lost your own finger. I am not trying to attack you here. I'm just trying to point out the fact of why I said call 911. Because you had your hands on me after you threw a phone in my face, and it got crazy in the past, and I truly thought I need to stop this madness before I get hurt.
Oh my God.
And I never think about myself that way. I never defend myself that way. I never see myself as a victim. It's too fault, you know?
Alright, yeah.
It sounds like he's sitting there looking at his hand like, oh my God, she's trying to tell me I'm not a victim of domestic abuse. It's almost like she's banking on society viewing her as the victim here because she's a woman. Johnny even straight up asked her if she views herself as an abuser.
You're gonna have to do this under oath too, you know.
I will, because it's an unfortunate part. I can talk about all of this.
Do you believe all this, Amber? Do you believe all this?
Oh, yeah, the fuck out of yes.
You believe I'm an abuser. You believe I'm an abuser.
In May, in December, in April.
Do you believe you're an abuser? Do you believe you abused me physically?
Do I physically believe? Do I believe I physically abused you?
Yes.
Do you know I'm 115? Well, not anymore, but I was 115 pounds. I'm a 115-pound woman, and I have the capacity to abuse.
That's not the question. That's not the question.
Have I ever been able to knock you off of your feet?
You started these things.
You're going to get up on the stand, Johnny, and say she started it? Really? I have never been able to overpower you. That's the difference between me and you.
Why did you try?
And that's the difference that the whole world and the jury and the judge see. There is a very big difference between me and you.
There seems to be a little bit of deflection in there, a little banking on societal norms, and a little bit of banking on the fact that we're only able to ask so many questions when it comes to abuse. Amber even got an op-ed published in the Washington Post where she's listed as an advocate for women's rights. The truth came to light, but not before Depp's name was dragged through the mud by the media, and he was also asked to step down from movies like Fantastic Beasts and the Pirates of the Caribbean sequel or remake. As of late, many people have come out to show support for Johnny, And thankfully, Amber has been fired from her role in Aquaman 2, and out of this recording, she's facing 5 years of prison time. But unfortunately, the trial has been pushed to 2022. This whole thing got me thinking of double standards when it comes to male abusers and female abusers. I mean, you see how fast we try to get Briss Breezy's ass the fuck out of here. And those pictures of Johnny were from 2016. So what took so long? Statistics from the NCADV shows that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have experienced some form of physical violence by an intimate partner, and 1 in 7 women and 1 in 25 men have been injured by an intimate partner. But why are these numbers so drastically different, at least the last couple of numbers? I think there's a reason for that. And to help us figure it out, let's take a look at some of the more infamous celebrity domestic violence cases. We have Emma Roberts, who was arrested for beating up Evan Peters when they dated. She broke his nose and bit him, but Evan forgave her and didn't want to press charges. We have Ellen Nordegren, who's Tiger Woods' ex-wife. She hit him with a golf club, which made him spit up blood, scratched his face, and smashed the window of his car while he was trying to get away. And this led to that infamous Tiger Woods car crash scandal, which highlighted his infidelity, and the abuse just kind of got overshadowed. Christian Slater was on both sides of the fence. In 1998, he went to jail for 2 years after he punched his girlfriend in the face. But when his wife at the time, Ryan Haddon, threw a glass at him during an argument, which cut his neck and required 20 stitches to close, she got off scot-free. Mary Woodson, who was in a relationship with Al Green, poured scalding hot grits on him, then ran to the bedroom and shot herself. Where have I heard this hot grits shit before?
Bring him into the kitchen and get you a big old pot of hot grits. And when it start to boil like lava, after he done got good and comfortable, you say, "Good morning." Throw it right on him.
Are you catching what I'm pitching yet? Marilyn Manson is facing sexual abuse claims from multiple women, not limited to Evan Rachel Wood and Esme Bianco from Game of Thrones, who said he tied her up, whipped her, and used a sex toy called the Violet Wand on her wounds. Looks like Manson is heading to Army Hammerville. Click the prompt up there to check out my story about that madness. I think Evan Rachel Wood does a good job at describing her abusive relationship experience.
I thought that I was being strong with a complicated person, and that was kind of what was being fed to me, you know, and then I think I was already mad and I was already alone. This person made me feel like we were going to go on this great adventure of freedom and, you know, experimentation, and it was very, very far from that. It was the opposite of freedom. I think domestic violence is so normalized, and was normalized to me that I couldn't see a crime being committed when it was being committed. Part of the conditioning when you're in that relationship is believing that it's your fault and that you've done something to deserve this. What people don't tell you is there's a period where everything's fine, you know, or seemingly fine, and this person's treating you like a princess, and they're grooming you, and they're making you, they're luring you into this, you know, illusion of safety and stability.
In a print interview with Self, she said, "I used to think being strong was not being affected, and now for me, being strong is letting it affect you, but being able to move past it, and seeing the pain, walking through it, letting it float through you, and then letting it leave. You can break and still be strong." I love this mindset because I think this is what's going to lead us to having these conversations that we should have been having all along, and still showing the victims that they're strong for just coming forward and letting people know what happened. I mean, far be it from me to tell people how to cope with abuse, but I know personally I've learned so much about grooming and isolationism and all these other tactics that abusers use from people close to me who I would have never guessed were in abusive relationships or situations. It meant the world to me because I can see just how hard it is to talk about, and I was getting more information than I ever would be able to get from just research. So what do you guys think? Do you think we should be asking these questions that have been deemed unaskable? Do you think there's a certain way to go about asking them? Do you think these are hindrances to a conversation that could be really educational to an enormous amount of people? You know where to come, and be sure to like this video and subscribe for more opinionated takes on pop culture and current events. Follow me on Instagram at Casually Opinionated. Follow my personal Instagram at Lito's Way, and follow me on Twitter at Lito's Life. And I'll see you guys next time.